G'day everyone, it's Dwayne from oztooltalk. I just wanted to make a little video about batteries. I know lots of people are curious about how their batteries work and what the setup is, and there's also a lot of confusion about and some misinformation around that I thought I'd like to touch on. Of course, I'm not an electrical engineer, so I could get little things wrong, I think, but I got the main. I understand the main gist. So I just want to take you through a few things and and help you understand about cordless tool batteries. So I've got just here as an example, I've got a 2 amp hour slim battery from Bosch. That's 18 volt. I've also got a DeWalt 18 volt battery here, a larger capacity battery. I've got one of Milwaukee's M12 batteries, and then I've got a large 56 volt battery from Ego for their outdoor power equipment. So I'm just going to go right ahead and open these up and show you what's inside, and then we'll come back and discuss more about them and also about how to understand how much capacity your battery really has. So I'll crack open the DeWalt one first. So as you can see, the top piece is pretty much just a shell, has no wiring attached to it. Now this is a very standard arrangement for battery packs that you'll find. You probably can't see in there, but I can read that they're Samsung cells. They're an 18650 cell, which is totally standard across power tool batteries. What you can see is 5 cells, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across there. This being a large capacity battery though, it actually has 2 rows, so you have 1 row of 5 on the top and 1 row of 5 along the bottom. So that's a very standard way of having a high capacity 18 volt battery. So I'll put that to the side. I'm going to show you the Bosch slim battery. So there's a little seal on the Bosch battery here, and I suppose this is probably a warranty thing. If you break this seal, you're probably breaking your warranty. Pop this open. You've got, once again, a reasonably similar sort of setup to the DeWalt. You have 5 cells, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once again, these are the same size, the same type of cells, 18650. So that's what the inside of your slim batteries look like. Across all brands, they're all nearly all. They're all 5 batteries like that. So the way that you get to 18 volts is having 5 batteries in series that are 3.6 volt each. So 3.6 times 5 gets you to 18. So it's an 18 volt. When you have your DeWalt or your larger capacity battery, you have 5 cells in series, and then you put them in parallel with 5 other cells, so that you don't get 36 volts, you get 18 volts, but you add them together, add their amp hours together, their capacity, and hence you still have an 18 volt battery. So those are your stock standard batteries. I'll now move on to something a little bit different. This is a 12 volt battery, an M12. So we'll take this apart now. Okay, back now. So just pulling apart the Milwaukee M12 battery, you'll see it's a little bit different. We only have 3 batteries in here. There are also actually another 3 batteries in the stalk or the pod of section of the battery. So this being a high capacity battery, it's got 3 batteries in series and then another 3 to add to it to get to your 4 amp hour. What you may notice is these are the same sort of batteries as you saw on the DeWalt, the Samsung. Once again, they're 18650, which is the type of cell that it is. And there are 3 of them. 3 3.6 volt batteries. Any of you out there who like math will go 3 times 3.6 does not equal 12, which is true. Milwaukee batteries, like most other compact batteries, are 10.8 volt. 3 times 3.6 equals 10.8. So these 3 here get you 2 amp hours at 10.8 volt, and then the other 3 which are added to it get you 4 amp hour. So yep, just thought I'd mention that. There are many 12 volt ranges around, and since, as far as I know, they all use these sort of batteries that are 3.6 volt, they are actually 10.8 volt. Anyway, that's the Milwaukee M12 battery. Moving on to possibly the most interesting battery is the Ego. This is going to have a lot of screws to take out. Okay, so this battery is a little more complex to show the inside of, just because of the wiring. But this is their 2 amp hour battery. Of course, Ego make 2.5, 4 amp hour and 6 amp hour batteries in Australia, and 7.5 overseas. So what you're going to notice straight away with these cells is that they look slightly different in shape, and that is because Ego actually wrap their cells in a material to reduce the heat. So if I just show it up close, you'll see how the cells are wrapped. They're wrapped in a material that they say at high temperature, as in a temperature that would start to be bad for the cells and the batteries, this material in here that's actually wrapping around each of those cells changes from a solid to a liquid. And changing something from a solid to a liquid requires a lot of energy to change its state. That's some pretty good technology to help keep the batteries cool. Is this shape to allow airflow, to greater surface area for airflow, and also this phase change material in here. That's what's at the heart of the Ego batteries, and I've always been pretty impressed by that. Not only that, another thing that separates the Ego is that you'll actually see on the ends you actually have little air holes. I think there might have been some, yeah, and then on the top of the Ego batteries you have more airflow through there. So these batteries are really designed to stay cool. Now if I just do a quick count in here, I'm seeing two, it's double stacked at each end, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14. So 7 on this side, 7 on that side. Now 14 times 3.6, I'm just going to get my calculator out here because I'm not working that one out in my head. 14 times 3.6 equals 50.4, not 56 volt. So this this battery, just like the Milwaukee 12 volt that I showed you before, is actually at a lower nominal voltage than the battery that than it's actually saying on the case. What that is that they're claiming the max voltage that the batteries can. So sitting at idle, doing absolutely nothing, the maximum voltage that this battery has is 56 volts. The second you start drawing power from it, it'll be drawing power at its nominal voltage, which will be 50.4 volts. Likewise, on all of the 12 volt systems around, the minute you start drawing from the battery, you are actually drawing 10.8 volt. Now, that's just something to keep in mind, so that when you see a 12 volt battery, you don't think it's more powerful than a 10.8 because of the voltage. It doesn't work that way. Now, I mentioned before that Ego, who I'm focusing on a little bit in this video, have released a 6 amp hour battery that's quite recent. So I just wanted to show you it here. It really is a behemoth of a battery. I compare that to a large capacity 18 volt, and there's really no comparison. So there's a lot of juice. 6 amp hour in a battery this large, voltage this high. I've checked that in all the Ego tools that I have, and it fits them all. I probably wouldn't stick it on the end of the brush cutter or the hedge trimmer, just because of the weight, but in the mower or the chainsaw, for instance, really good, and I have used it in my mower and my chainsaw. Now, if you're still here, still watching, then you probably are a bit of a nerd like me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly use the whiteboard to explain a little bit about the total capacity battery, which is measured in watt hours, which you'll find on the bottom of each battery pack. So I'll just zoom the camera in. So I'm going to use a DeWalt battery as an example. So a DeWalt battery is in this case 18 volt, and it is a 5 amp hour battery. Now, amp hours only means something in relation to a voltage. So it's 5 amp hours, which means it could deliver 5 amp for 1 hour. But that 5 amp hour is at 18 volts. So it's a 5 amp hour on its own doesn't actually tell you how much total gas this battery has. It's 5 amp hours of 18 volt. So 5 amp hour, 18 volt means that you get a total of 90 watt hours. And that's because, as some of you will know, volts times amps equals watts. So I'm not going to go into what volts are and what amps are, partly because I do a terrible job explaining it. The important thing to note is that watts or kilowatts in bigger tools is a measure of instantaneous power, how much power you are drawing at any time. Okay, so if a drill is rated to 600 watts, when you're pulling the trigger, asking it to do a big task, it's going to be drawing 600 watts continuously. Now, watt hours is a measure of capacity. So watts is the instantaneous current, the instantaneous power being drawn. Watt hours is the total. So if you were drawing 90 watts from a 90 watt hour battery, then you would get an hour of being able to draw that 90 watts. So there you have it. This is a 5 amp hour battery from DeWalt. This is exactly what it says on the bottom, 90 watt hours. Now in America this would be classified a 20 volt max battery. Actually the same thing. I've already explained the difference between max voltage and the nominal. So if you were calling this 20 volt battery times 5 amp hour, you would actually arrive at 100 watt hours, but max. And that's what you'll find on the bottom of some of the batteries that claim in max voltage. And I actually don't like that at all. I think that it's one thing to claim the max voltage, it's another altogether to actually claim 100 watt hours from a 5 amp hour battery, because there is not 100 watt hours in the battery, there's 90. So just something for you all to think about, and that is that the nominal voltage is what determines how much power the battery has and also how much gas or juice is in the battery. So that's a basic understanding of how batteries work. You will note sometimes that manufacturers have different results. For instance, if you look at Hilti's batteries in the US, their 18 volt tools, 18 is in the model number, but they're actually 21.6 volt tools, which is more how they're marketed here in Australia. And that means that they've actually got one extra 3.6 volt cell in their battery. So they would have rows of 6 instead of 5. So variations do exist, but for the most part you're going to find either small batteries in rows of 3 cells or large 18 volt batteries in rows of 5. Now I do actually have one other point to make of interest that I discovered a couple of years ago now, and that is about the question, can a larger battery give more power than a slim battery? Ugh. So here we have the 2 amp hour Bosch, and here we have the 5 amp hour Bosch, both 18 volt. Obviously we know that the 5 amp hour is going to last longer because it has a lot more juice in it. But does that mean that it can deliver more power? And for the longest time I believed not. I thought it's only a tank of gas, it's not actually going to deliver more power. But as it turns out, what you do actually have happening is in this battery here you have 5 cells of batteries delivering up to their max discharge current. Now that discharge current determines how much power the tool can draw from the battery at any one time. Because you have 2 rows of batteries in this one, the discharge current from that second row actually gets added to the first row, and so you actually have the ability to draw more current from this battery without damaging it than you do from a slim battery. Now in reality, is there a lot of difference? Often not. If you go to a manufacturer's website and you have a look at their impact driver kits, for instance, with full-sized batteries, compare them to compact batteries or just the skin, the bare tool, you will actually often see a torque rating difference, and that's due to this phenomenon that I'm speaking about now. But not all tools are equipped to use the extra power delivered by a full-size high-capacity battery, and so often you won't actually see a lot of difference. I tested a bunch of DeWalt tools some time ago and found that impact driver had more power with a large capacity battery, but I couldn't find any power difference in the drill and the circular saw. So it really depends on the electronics and the controls that have been set up by the manufacturers in the tool and the battery and the communications between. But if you're wondering, sometimes yes, if you're doing something that is hard work and you have both a slim and a high capacity battery on hand, you will actually be able to work faster with some tools on a large battery. So I hope you found this to be informative. If you disagree with anything or you'd like to ask further questions, feel free to. However, this probably exhausted most of my knowledge on batteries. So anyway, tune in next time, and thanks for watching. Bye.